Emilie, Margot and her drama, too much to swallow this episode. Too much to swallow.
That's what she said.
Okay. All right. I see where this is going.
There's a reason we call summer in London the season.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ladies of London, but I'll take a Pinot Grigio. I am here with my friend Emilie. We are remote, but goat today. Emilie has such a hard life. She had to jaunt off to the mountains to have some solitude. She went out to a very glamorous dinner with some two friends and a couple of artists that she knows. She had a big wild night, so she's like trying to rally her energy back up. But of course, I'm Sundi, pop culture professor, self-proclaimed expert on all things pop culture, but really heavy on the self-proclaimed these days.
And I'm Emilie, former socialite adjacent person turned fashion person turned psychologist. So
I made her say that, y'all. That's why she sounds so uncomfortable.
She has to remind me like every week what my like intro. What's my bio again? Who am I?
Okay. So previously on, and I want to just take a second to talk about Ladies of London, the entire tension, the entire conflict arc is about one cast member making fun of the other cast member's clothes. That is what this entire season has been about. And it has been juicy and beautiful, and I love it so much. But to compare, over on Real Housewives of Rhode Island, there is a polygamous swinger. There is a woman whose husband had an affair. There is a woman who is hanging on by the skin of her teeth because she has two small children and her husband opened a restaurant. There is a woman who is really trying to like get out from underneath her sugar daddy. So it's a lot different. It's a very different world.
Yeah. This was a wild ride episode right here. And also, if you wear a crushed velvet catsuit ever in your life, and it's not part of like costume, I mean, I think it's fair game that you're going to be made fun of for your clothes.
Question. Sundi has a question. It's a leftover bit from Top Chef. What about a crushed velvet pantsuit, which I do have? That's two-piece
completely different situation.
Pants blazer situation because it is my holiday outfit. Okay.
I know. I have seen that suit.
That's right.
I love it. It's also not crushed velvet. It's just velvet.
Yes.
There's a difference.
And like, here's where I would like usually like run down like the previous Leon, but literally it is just Margot and Mark beefing because he's talking about what to wear. I do want to call attention to Margot's stank face that we are becoming more and more accustomed to because, and also it's a little boring to have to talk about the same conflict over and over, right?
Yes. But I will say, I feel like they gave us a lot to work with on this week's episode. I was really entertained.
The breadth of Margot's meltdown is something to behold here. Like, ma'am, are you okay? No. The answer is no.
She's really auditioning hard, I have to say.
Oh my God, that shit in the van. Like, I got it. Like, I'll talk about it in a minute, but I got up and got wine during that, and I even said out loud, calm your tits. Like, out loud to nobody in the house because it was just so ridiculous. But we do need to remember.
Times I wrote parentheses eye roll.
Yeah. Look,
over and over.
I'm gonna have to get you a stamp. I got Jeff a stamp that it's like little because he always like writes like an eye roll emoji in his notes. Like he jots it down like this. So I had him a rubber stamp made, and he just stamps it. So I'm gonna have to get one for you as well because if it goes on so much longer, I don't really know. But it is important to remember that last we left them, they were at Longleat, and that shouting match had broken out on the lawn, which we did not give anybody reacting to it in last episode.
Of Bath's Garden, a shouting match.
Lottie, Lottie was like, if our English mothers would see us at the Marchioness's garden party shouting, and I was like, listen, if my Southern mama saw me, like my mom would internally combust before she'd raise her voice in public at me.
I mean, seriously, like it was horrifying.
And then we got the crybaby bitch classic repeated where she was like,
she was not yelling. Margot projected her voice across the garden.
I don't like that one of the Americans that they chose is embodying every ugly American stereotype that there is. Like,
I know.
it's just unfortunate.
Like, the editors are really like laying heavy into it too.
Emilie, they hate her.
Yeah, well,
they hate her. But then we got this thing, and I think Margot really thought she was going to eat with this. Like, you can see how smug she looked in her confessional when she said, you can take the girl out of Florida, but you guess you can't take a girl from Florida to Longleat. And then she just sits there real smug, like, pause for laughter. Girl,
so that was
listen, you better...
Kimmy because of Kimmy's Miami connection?
Yes. And I wanted to tell her, girl, you better hope you don't see the Florida come out of fucking Kimmy, because that'd be the last we see of you. But
Miami, not Florida, Miami. That's like a whole different country.
That's what I'm saying. She thought she was really like digging her, like she was like getting at her, and it just didn't land for me. Emma is starting to really kind of like lose her graciousness with this. She takes up for Mark, and she says it a couple of times. It's not that serious. Mark is her child's godfather.
They've been friends for 15 years, she says later in here.
So Martha, ever the hand-wringer, is trying to de-escalate on many, many fronts. She's, listen, you're really hurting her feelings. You're coming hot. And Mark just keeps saying, she'll get over it. She'll get over it. And Martha is like, just wringing her hands. And then Kimmy, like an insult, she was like, well, she's an actress. Like, she was like cutting her down by saying she's an actress.
Yeah, agreed, Also, Martha, particularly in I don't know, throughout the episode, but particularly at this beginning here is, all right, come on. Like,
okay,
being a little annoying. Like, she's like, oh, like you said, hand-wringing. Oh, it's my fault. Oh, I just feel like it's my fault. Like, she keeps apologizing. Like, no, it's not your fault that Margot is psycho. Like, and, can't take a joke and comes after, Mark with like, an Uzi after he's thrown a punch.
Exactly. And two, you're on the wrong side of history with this one, Martha. Like, I hate it. I know she's your friend, but you are not on the right here. But then as Kimmy starts to escalate and get more and more heated, and Martha gets more and more like, Missy comes over and has the goddamn audacity to say, don't get involved. Bitch, all of this is happening because you told.
Right? Like, you are the original get involved where you're, not supposed to be. So what is this about?
But she's so defensive.
It's an Elia.
I was about to say, don't say Elia. Don't say Elia. I don't want to fucking hear it. And it's just so... It's so transparent because also
not good enough for Longleat. No, ma'am. And no one has a problem with like it being good enough or like the brand. Everyone has a problem with it being just like trashy and tacky and
well, and occasion appropriate, right? Like, and that's what Mark was like, it's not good enough. It was transparent, and like the way this man does not want to step back an inch. I aspire to be this fucking resolve in my pettiness. Like, and it's not like they are fighting over some like big, huge thing, philosophical ideas. No, this man is just fighting for his right to jank on her clothes, and I approve. It is so fun.
I mean,
but
good taste is a big philosophical thing,
Well, he's just digging in at this point. But this is where shit goes left right here. Yeah. This is where she's like, why don't you just... Yes. She's like, why don't you just talk to me? Why don't you just talk to me? And he goes to reach her. She's like, ugh, don't touch me. And then she says, why are you so obsessed with me? And like the fucking cold as ice, butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, he said, of course I'm obsessed with you. Who wouldn't be? And that she snaps. Like, he got the better of her in that one sentence than anybody ever could. And that's when she starts with the freak and weird and creepy. And that to me crossed a line. I can't come back from that.
And also, how do we get there? How do we get from he has a problem with your outfits? He's just being like his scathing self, like just with a comeback, really. And then how do we get from that to like, you're creepy, you're a freak, you're a weirdo? Like, that was a real giant.
Yes, again, bringing an Uzi to a knife fight, right? And she leaves scorched earth. And whenever we saw the previews a couple weeks ago, the minute I heard the word freak, I knew that was going to be super triggering for him, because as a probably effeminate young man, in a very traditionally masculine culture, I bet he got called a lot of nasty stuff. And that's for Margot not to even occur to her, because I don't think that she was attacking his sexuality in that way. I think that she was like just trying to like come back really hot. But for her not to even consider that the word freak to a gay man could be damaging is a little kind of obnoxious.
And this is where she really digs into the whole episode. Like, it's like she can't even acknowledge that, like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe my response would have been triggering to him. Like, okay, I get that, like that's going to be. Anyway.
And even later too, whenever like they try to tell her his backstory, she still doesn't relent. But also, Emilie, I need us to work in the phrase, I should have left 10 minutes ago, to our particular lexicon. That's so fun. Oh, I should have left 10 minutes ago. That is so fun and classy. And then this like maze bit that he does where he's like trying to like find the maze. I found that to be so charming.
Because one time I needed to make a quick exit. It's like the maze doing its job.
Just walking around the maze. It's very cute. And in their confessionals, everyone is slowly but surely like becoming more and more on Mark's side. Emma's like, look, it's not that fucking serious. And Micah's like, just zip it, lady. Like, stop it. Right. And Martha's like, oh, it's my fault, which you already said that, but it's like, no, it wasn't. But everyone is starting to kind of move farther and farther and farther away from Margot and this weird crusade that she's on about her clothes.
Yeah. Which are, I think I wrote it down someplace, I can't remember, but they're artistic masterpieces, archival.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they can be appreciated as such. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Like your white thong bodysuit under the sheer skirt. I don't give a damn what the designer label is. That is not an archival like masterpiece. And you know what? If you supposedly have all these amazingly archival clothes, save them for the Met Gala. Okay, that's where we wear stuff like
that. And two, like it's not worth blowing up everybody's moment and everybody's spot, because eventually everybody's like, well, I guess we got to go. And I do want to comment on this one thing where Micah was like, I know it feels like the day, but it was 8:57.
Yeah.
Because of the latitude of the Isle, the British Isle, summer days last a really long time. Because remember, I was there throughout the entire summer when I studied, and no joke, the sun would come up at about 4:30 and it would go down probably 9 or 9:30. It was a very long day. And so like your circadian rhythms are really mixed up. I mean, like I would wake up and think it was 8 o'clock and it would be 5 o'clock. It's a very long day because they're so high north. But so then they fight over who's the gin, and obviously Kimmy's taking the gin because who the fuck else would? And they get back to their cottages, which we understand that there's a pregnant woman, an angry woman, and an overserved woman walk into a bar. Yeah. And so the cool cabin is eating omelets and drinking wine, and Kimmy's making an unctuous omelet. I know that word from my Top Chef coverage.
What'd she say? A bavuse, right?
I don't know. I didn't know that word.
Yeah, they put it on the screen, and it means slightly runny or undercooked.
Uh-huh.
All right, now I love a slightly runny egg, but did you see that? Like when she was spooning it into like I think Martha's mouth or something or whatever. Yeah, Martha. Like it was like dripping.
No, I can't abide a runny egg in any circumstance, no matter how it's prepared. I cannot abide a runny egg. It's so disgusting.
Yes, but runny white, ugh, no. And an omelet that's runny?
I need it to be firm and fluffy, just so we know. More English talk, more English food talk on this podcast. This is where Emma is talking in her confession about how she failed as a hostess because like the idea is to nobody have a good time. But I just want to tell her, whatever failure she thinks she had, you made up for it by throwing yourself on the sword going to that bullshit cabin. You should have went with the fun kids, and you're sitting there like listening to Margot cry about it when you could have been down there eating drippy omelets.
She was like, pizza's on the way, and she's over there. I'm like, oh God, you are really like, yeah, I agree, falling on the sword to go hang out with that bunch.
Yeah. And Emma, again, takes up for her friend. And I think this should be a complete sentence and a full stop. Mark didn't want to cause a scene. I think that should have been the end of the conversation. Margot, if somebody says to you, I don't want to cause a scene, let's please not do this here, that's your cue to be like, nope, we're done here, right? Because otherwise you look like a fool by keeping it going.
Well, yeah. As Lottie says, what is it? The Brits understand what he's doing, and there's one American who doesn't understand it. Begins with an M, ends with an O.
I thought that was cute too. But I'm trying to kind of
Lottie in this episode. Like
me too.
I've warmed up to her a lot.
Me too. And I don't even care that she's like pregnant and conspicuous about it. I really like her. But I am trying to, because I was thinking as the episode wore on, it became more and more evident that this was like the main A plot of it. I am trying to think, okay, let me put myself in Margot's shoes, or let me at least like, I know the devil has enough advocates, but what's happening? And so I kind of started thinking, and I'm likening her to like, maybe the little girl that is like a little bit overweight or taller than the rest of her class. So she starts like brutalizing everybody else before they can brutalize her because she's so scared of being bullied or she's so insecure. So she's going to like come out on the offensive before she has to be defensive about it, because there's just no reason for her to die on this hill in every scene, in every episode.
I don't know. I mean, you could be right. There could be something to that, but it feels to me like she's just really stubborn and just digging her heels in, like thinking that if she really stands her ground, that it makes her look like a strong woman. But it doesn't. It just makes her look dumb.
No.
Like,
right.
It doesn't come across as like, yeah, good for you for really sticking to your guns. It comes across as like,
no,
thank you for making all Americans look worse than we already do. Thanks. Thanks for confirming what all the, Brits think about us already.
And that's what I was going to say too, is that like, if you have 5 British people, 5 people who are actually in that culture telling you that, it's not a big deal, this is the British humor, but you as the American, the outlier, is like, no, I know what is happening. And my mom has a saying, and if you guys listen to the vintage VPR, you've heard me say it 100 times. If everybody's telling you you're dead, you need to lay down. Because you're dead. Right. And Micah even said it later. She's like, everybody is trying to tell her to like stop, and she won't.
Right. Yeah. She says like, if you are in the wrong, but you don't see it, and everyone around you keeps telling you you're in the wrong, you need to like listen to what people are saying. And Margot's just convinced that she just knows better than it. I don't know.
No. And then she even said something like, well, I'm not stupid. And I just wrote, prove it. Prove it. I don't believe you, ma'am. And also, by not engaging and not coming out really hot and disgusting, Mark is making himself, number one, the perfect victim, right? Because if he were to like lash out back at her, like be really nasty to her, then we maybe have a harder time being on his side. But by being this way, perfect victim, he is also kind of like allowing her the space to get madder and madder and madder. And that's what happened in the van in a little bit, which we'll get there in a second. But I definitely do want to talk about how they look, but not before. I saw Martha climb out of the top bunk of a twin bed bunk bed wearing the absolute most glamorous, beautiful silk robe that had a Black Panther on it. And I'm like, this woman's in the top bunk of a bunk bed? Come on.
They were staying.
Because well, it looked like Martha was coming out. I may have to go back and look, but it looked like she was climbing, like she had to climb down the stairs because it was the morning of.
We've seen that estate. Your house has 400 bedrooms in it.
Not these cottages.
In a little cottage that has bunk beds?
Well, I mean, especially if they are renting them out to be Airbnbs, I got to make them like kid friendly, and maybe they were just weren't enough beds. I don't know. Maybe she liked to be up there in the nest like Hecate. Like she We don't know. She's a quirky sort. Mark's just sitting alone in the bath arms eating, just like, oh, God, let's get this shit over with. Like, fucking A. And Mike is like, today's vibe is going to be fun. Everybody just like cool out and let's just have a good time. And everybody's like, yeah. Cool. For sure.
And
And so they all meet.
Emilie, our heroine of everything. Should we start the morning with a little Patron, or should we be healthy with some Mirabelle?
Ma'am, I have never related to a woman more than anybody than in this episode, because the way she goes from scathing hot, you crybaby bitch, to like self-deprecating, where Mark says something later about the fat lady sing. She's like, yes, I would never sing this. Like, she's just so funny, and the range of her, and she is smart as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, when they were doing the cheese tour in a minute, like, she was asking all these really smart questions. I'm like, girl, you contain multitudes, and I love her. Like, she is my heart on the screen. I love her so much.
I love it. Yeah. But yeah, so okay, so this is like we're on the next morning, and I know
Yeah.
I made a note, I go, so I guess we're going on safari today based on the outfit.
Well, no. If you look at Missy, Missy's going to tell your fortune, because her name's going to be Esmeralda at the county fair, because she's going to tell your fucking fortune.
Missy looked to me like she couldn't decide if she wanted to be Lara Croft Tomb Raider or Jackie. And she was just like, let me just fix my favorite. Like, I'm going to
the boots with the shorts,
the boots, and then I'm going to do the Jackie O like handkerchief thing, which, by the way, I'm seeing a lot of that happening more lately, and I am here for that handkerchief. Although I tried it a couple of weeks ago, and the tall, skinny man told me that he liked my do-rag. So I was like, oh.
Well, there you go. I'm
the Jackie O look that I was going.
Did you put your sunglasses on and just like walk around with your big dinner plate sunglasses on? That would have been the tip off. But that rust jumpsuit, like that linen jumpsuit that Martha had on, I really like it. As a matter of fact, I like it so much because I have one almost identical to it.
Oh, really? It was.
Yes.
Kimmy's dress was beautiful. Mark Francis, as always. Have we ever seen this man dressed in something like just not?
No. I mean, and we never will. Well, I want to talk about Kimmy really quick, because Kimmy looks like she's about to fall off her yacht and get kidnapped by a blue-collar worker who is going to take advantage of her amnesia and make sure that that she's taking care of his badass kids. She looks super rich. Yes. She looks like super rich and really like, money, but also there's
like the exact right outfit for the day based on everyone else's outfits, but it was a beautiful dress.
But guess who doesn't give a fuck? Kimmy. You ain't gonna tell her outfit looks shitty and she's gonna cry about it. Like, she don't care. You ain't gonna hurt her feelings. What about Emma's like rock and roll meets English countryside here?
I was confused by like the mechanic jumpsuit look. I didn't understand. But then I guess was it Longleat like brand? Like, is she required to wear? Like,
I don't know.
Of like the place.
No.
Like,
it did kind of look like she was like in Speed Racer's pit crew a little bit. Like, she was gonna like, all right, go.
Like, working on the tractors after like we did the giraffes or something. Like, what's happening here?
Micah.
Well,
looked like she was wearing a costume, like she was going to like a Halloween party dressed as like a white lady safari attendee.
I mean, that was like the Barbie safari outfit look, like the hats and everything.
Yep.
I was like, I feel like I had this as a doll costume,
You probably did.
Child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. And yeah, Lottie,
she should have been carrying a glow stick. She was rave adjacent the whole time. And then Margot, because I've been so mean to her otherwise, I just wrote, Margot's hair is so pretty.
Well, I'm impressed that you could even focus on that, because all I could focus on was her bizarre thong bodysuit with the low slung pants.
I did not notice. Could you see the thong?
You could when she was getting out of the car at one point when she was having her breakdown. Like, it was a definite, like, I don't know. I was like, this
wild.
Also on that note, we are not going back to low rise pants Sunday.
Absolutely not.
Are not. I'm not following that trend.
I can't do it. And is it because
or is not strong enough any longer?
And is it because
I have a 3-inch zipper on my jeans anymore? I'm not doing it. I refuse.
Ladies of a certain age, our weight is being distributed differently in this, golden age of like wisdom that we're in. Because there would be too much hangover.
Give a fuck, okay? But I'm not going back.
But I'm just saying, a low-rise situation, there's going to be a hangover. Like there is going to be something that is lapping over. And nobody wants to see that. But we get another history lesson about the village of Cheddar. Did you know any of this?
No.
I didn't either.
And I had no idea that Longleat owned Cheddar.
This estate,
all of it.
This
Cheddar
is part of the estate, and it takes 40 minutes to drive there. This woman, and she does make a couple of comments about how it's like a separate satellite, but the estate is so wide and so sprawling that it's 40 minutes away. But
it's a helicopter.
Yes, a helicopter would have been perfect. So I want you to put your psychologist hat on for just a second.
Okay.
Because the ride up is where Margot internalized it. What do you think was the trigger for her to get so upset about it? Because there was a couple of things, and it was delivered in not mean tones and not in a malicious way. What was it that tipped her over into this particular episode?
So I was thinking about that earlier, and my thought is she has felt like, like Missy and Lottie were kind of like allies, I think in a way. So because they've kind of been go-betweens a little bit and stuff. And in the car, they were like pointing out to her like, hey, you may have crossed the line a little bit. Like, I think Lottie even kind of goes into it. I don't know if it was in the car, if it was in her confessional, where she's like, being a gay man, like he's probably been called things like this a lot. This could be really triggering. And this is, again, where Margot's just like digging in. She's like, no, I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong. And quite honestly, I feel terrible saying this because as a psychologist, like it's my job to kind of listen to how people are feeling and try to help them process their feelings.
Bracing for impact.
Ma'am, this was so contrived. Okay. It was literally like, wait, oh my God, everybody's against me now. How can I turn
Well,
That
was what I was about to ask you next was, what do you think she heard? When Micah and Lottie were like trying to tell her this, what hit her ear?
You're wrong. You were wrong.
And you're a bad person, or like, we hate you, you suck. Like, she internalized something. Like, there was something that was happening inside her body when she clocked that these women were not on her side. And Lottie kind of says it perfectly about the whole Mark situation. And then she also kind of clocks Margot about how she is starting to see that they're not on her side. And so that feels like some kind of betrayal, because she's always, and you mentioned it last week too, about her wedding, and there's always a side. So maybe she's perceiving that she's losing the side here.
Yeah, for sure. Because she definitely is somebody who fights like needing to win. It's not like we're fighting, arguing to understand each other better and to come to some sort of like compromise or agreement. The only reason to fight is to win for her. And
and in the car, Mark does get emotional but heated, but I find it hilarious that Emma says, I've never seen him this emotional. When this man, that's emotional. Like, I think his voice went up 1 octave. That's what we're calling emotional.
I mean, for him, because like, as we have said, he is pretty like, cool as a cucumber. I mean, like, he does not get easily ruffled. So I do agree that like that was, but like in 15 years of friendship, that's the most emotional you've ever seen him. I mean, he did talk about how, I mean, it is really sad that he's like, I can't even introduce my partner to I want to marry, like it's, I mean, like, I've been told that I'm wrong my whole life. And, that like what, I mean, that really breaks my heart. And but like, do not pity me. I do not want any pity.
Well, he gets the attention, is feeling really hot on his skin. You can see he's even flushing. But I guess Mark's sexuality and his orientation is settled now because he has a partner, he says, where the fuck is he? Get him on my screen right now, Bravo. Pay him whatever You need to. I need to know what Mark is like in a relationship with a man, like a romantic relationship. I need it.
Introduce this. I want to see this relationship.
I want it.
Yes, I love it. And I felt super sad for him and like really like, not sad for him, but just like really like, I felt like really connected to him. And he's like, I mean, I'm not going to be made to feel bad in Emma's house. Like, I mean, that would be like me coming over to your house and like someone being like, just targeting me for like something, like, no, I'm at like one of my best friends.
I'm not going to have it. And I think that is what we saw, like, the American reaction would be to like, throw a bitch out of their house. But Emma like, kind of starting to kind of bristle about it and be like, hey, that's not right. What you're doing is not right. I think that's her doing that, but in that very, very mild British manner, because I think she's kind of like getting fed up with it. And of course, she's a very gracious hostess, so she's never going to like alienate Margot. But like, Margot, you're alienating yourself. And also, we've already established that Margot doesn't have Google, but doesn't it make sense that she would do some peripheral, like, education stuff when I'm going to a Marchioness? Like, I'm going to her house. What is the protocol here? What do I need to do? Like, not even a quick little, like, asking Bing, like, ask Jeeves about it. Like, you can't, like, get in there.
Like, besties with Martha for, like, 20 years. You can't talk to her. She's British. Like, hey, man, what's the protocol on this whole weekend? Or like, got any tips for me? Again, Margot does not think that she's wrong. She doesn't have like any like concept of how she's coming across as being just like a rude, dumb American, basically.
Right. And not a great friend at all. Not a great friend to Emma, not a great friend to Martha, who we know they have a history. Like, she is really polarizing this group, which I would never want to be in between two friends where they're like, oh, hang out with me or hang out with them, but you can't do both. Like, that is a really hard position. And poor Martha. Martha's going to get a damn ulcer. Like, Margot, get right, because poor Martha can't handle this kind of tension.
I know. Like, she really was stressed out.
And then she's crying in the van, and she's like working herself up more and more and more. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. This is just so intense for me. And that's when I was wondering what you heard, what she heard.
I think this is like the same conversation where I think Missy, right? Like, doesn't she even say like Mark's just the last one that, like, he's not coming up with these comments. He's eating what your friends have said.
I think that was the tipping point.
Friend Martha is the one saying, what is this crushed velvet? Like, what is this?
Yeah. And I think
something else, I can't remember now. Like, and I was like,
the realization that they are all kind of, or like the thinking.
And Martha says, stop talking about labels and money
and designers. Yeah. And so I think that's like when she starts to realize that like everybody is kind of talking about her and kind of singling her out, like her deepest insecurities become inflamed. Like, oh wait, what do you mean? They're talking about me? How y'all are saying these really mean things? And I mean, I guess in the context of the conversation, they weren't so nice, but they weren't mean and they weren't cutting. They're not calling her a freak and a weirdo like she just did to fucking Mark.
Right. Agreed. And Lottie's face, though, in this car ride with Margot, like, that is just like the picture of I am over this shit. I mean,
yes.
It was like every cut to her, she's like, oh, God, this. And like rolls eyes so hard,
If Lottie wasn't pregnant, she would have done a real tuck and roll out of the goddamn van just to escape this awkward fucking moment, right? Like she says, and then when we get there and it ramps up.
Has to pee herself to get out of.
Right. That's right. But this seems like a really good place for us to like take a quick break. Y'all hang around. We'll be right back. Okay. So Missy is going to wee herself for real. Emilie, for real. She is going to wee herself. Like, no joke. I'm going to wee myself.
But it almost sounded more like a promise. Like, it didn't even sound like, oh my God, guys, let me out. Like, I'm going to wee myself. I'm going to wee myself. I was like, is anyone wanting you to do that? Like, what's happening here?
She was so assertive about what was about to happen. She was like, y'all, I swear to God, this is what's happening. And then, so I thought it was going to be over. Like, whenever we got there, and I don't know if I realized that they were going to like two whole separate places. I kind of waited for I was waiting for the other group to join them. But I thought, okay, all right, she's going to get out. She's going to shake it off. No, ma'am. she goes harder into this fucking meltdown. And I have had panic attacks. I mean, like,
still
she's hyperventilating. And, everybody is different. Their body reacts differently to, I don't know if I would be able to fully lean into my full chested feelings about how I'm feeling when there's a camera and like 7 producers. I think I probably could have been like, hey man, can I please just like walk around to the back of the van and just like have a second? And those poor fucking British producers, they didn't know what to do with this fucking woman.
They're like, should you go back to Longleat and take a rest or something? Like, do you need a medic?
Yeah, like, do you need medical assistance?
But again, these are rational feelings that you were having. Okay. That's like a rational perspective to be like, hey, could I have a break for like a second? We know Bravo's not going to really give her a break. They're going to secretly be filming just like they did with What's Her Face. Of
course.
Episode, But she doesn't even say that because she's a damn actress and she is auditioning for something. Yeah, and this whole
who knows what though.
I knew they were going 2 places though because I kind of caught that and I was like, ooh, I think the losers got to go to the cave because like, well, no, I mean like winners and losers kind of like hey, who wants to go taste cheese and who wants to go to the caves, and like immediately like all the cool people were like cheese, no caves, I want to go to cheese,
Yeah, seriously,
and you could tell once like audio, I'm in the wrong group again.
Yeah, like this just in, Missy does not wee herself, but comes back from the loo and is like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And so Lottie has to catch her up in this very exasperated way. I think she had a panic attack and, she's having a real whole thing about it. And so now Margot has changed locations. She's outside the van now in the sun.
Next to Wallace and Gromit statues. God love Lottie.
Emilie.
She literally says, how long is this woman going to cry next
to cry? So unserious. Like what? And then like, so
I'm trying not to laugh, but, like,
and Lottie even points it out to try to cut the tension to like kind of like break it up. And like Margot looks around and just like, it's like, I know it's so ironic. I'm like, ma'am, can you kind of like see the comedy in this situation? Like you are acting a straight fool. Lottie said she was scaring the kids. Like what's so bad in that cave? I'll need to go down there. Oh my, get it together, Margot. Then to the fun field trip where they have to like get all dolled up in their protective gear. And Kimmy's asking these really smart questions about, oh, is that why other places can call it cheddar? Oh, what about the consistency of the milk? And I'm like, okay, girl, smart. I did not know that, but I realized it now. But also, if that was Margot, we would have known that she went to cooking school from day dot, right? Like we would have been like, oh yeah, because nothing is a secret with Margot. Nothing is nuanced. Nothing is subtle.
Every 5. Also though, Lottie and Missy comparing notes about what was going on with Margot while eating the saddest looking bologna sandwiches ever for lunch.
Not bologna sandwiches. Well, yeah. The producer
comedy gold to me. Like, well done. And Bravo producers.
And they're phone propped up trying to tell Micah what's happening. But like, man, this bitch done lost it. We had to send her back to Longleat.
Wait. Micah, when she gets off of the phone call and goes back to the group and she's like, I've just gotten a call that Margot's unwell. Okay, now Mark, did she trip? Like so did she trip?
Yeah.
Like
okay. No, she is having a very serious episode. And this is when Martha, the hand wringing, starts to ratchet up too. Like she excuses herself and she's like humped over her phone, like, she's not answering my calls. I'm so worried. And Lottie just looks at Crystal. She's like, this Crystal ain't working. Fuck it. I'm done. Like, yeah, I'm gonna let somebody else recharge that shit. It ain't fucking working. Because they've met up now too, just to sort of like kind of keep us intact. They've all met up as they were supposed to, like from the caves and the cheddar, and they were going to go from there to the Rothschild giraffes, which are endangered. God, Emma, like, be a better person, please. Jesus.
I know. But the Rothschild giraffes, FYI, in case you did not know,
I didn't.
have 14-inch tongue from tip to base. Fun fact.
That's a lot of tongue. And that's coming from a lesbian over here, okay? That's a lot of tongue, my friends.
That's what she said. Yeah.
And so Mark sums it up all together when he says, "This is a charade." You know what? Enough said, sir. It's a charade.
But I started to feel like Martha was like coming around a little bit more when she was like, I don't know who this Margot is. Like, this is not the person that I've been friends with for forever. Of course, then she goes, right back to the dark side again later. But I was like, okay, maybe she's like recognizing, whatever. But I don't know.
And I don't want to skate past the postpartum of it all either. I mean, that possibly the not drinking and the postpartum of it all could be some kind of factoring in that she is like I don't know, her emotions are too high or they're too close to the surface. There's something happening because I don't know if a woman would continue to act this way if she understood how she was being perceived.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, again,
or maybe
I hate to be too judgmental on postpartum stuff. That's some serious stuff. However, well, a quick little Instagram search earlier did tell me she okay. Here's questions for you because you're the Bravo expert. When did they film this? Okay, we're watching it now in April of 2026. This was filmed in 2025, but like
probably based on a few clues and what I know about scheduling and how long the days are, probably June, like end of June through the end of summer.
Okay.
So it's probably August by now. What we're seeing right now is probably August.
And I mean, like, we've got quite a few pictures on Margot's Instagram of her daughter. Okay. So like 3 days ago, she posts this little toddler and it says, "How did a year go by so fast?" But then going back, because I'm going to do a deep dive on the Instagram.
Emilie, this is the kind of research you only get on this podcast. The Ladies of London, Pinot Grigio.
We do the dirty work for you.
That's right. It's exclusive content.
She posted a while back, "Buckle up, y'all. Mini-me arrives 2023.
Yeah. So they did mention
a solid 2 years.
Well, I think it's
delivery
in and around 18 months, right? Like I think that like 18 months is when we first started filming because the baby couldn't walk.
Symptoms are going to be 3 months up to a year-ish, but like, I don't know. It feels,
Emilie,
a little contrived.
I'm trying to be generous.
I know.
I'm trying to be generous. I know that never happens, but I'm trying to.
So July 27th, she was pregnant. We have a profile pic. You were looking at your notes.
July 27th of 2022? 2023. Okay. I mean, I guess it. And I also hate to like pile on, which is every episode we're just fucking piling on. But when they all come together at the Bath Arms, they've had a costume change, but they have so much fun. They're having so much fun together. They're all laughing. They're making jokes. It is a kiki session for the ages.
I mean, yeah, like Bravo is like, they were eating it up with a spoon. They're like, laugh, 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 la ha 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 ha. I was like, ooh, okay, way to make your
making
point.
Jokes. Yeah. And two, I don't know if this is just like a fluke or whatever, but Micah is really kind of winning best dress for me. That beautiful kind of like orange gold dress that she was wearing, and Mark said she looked like an Oscar. Beautiful. Now the safari, I mean, if I was doing a photo shoot for America's Next Top Model, maybe. But she has good taste, I think. Well, whenever they were in the garden, she did say, Well, she did warn. She was like, listen, I'm wearing something tomorrow like that. But it's because he doesn't like her. And also, too, it's because she's American. And it's also, too, because she's vulgar. And it's because she's loud. And it's because she is just auspicious in every single way. And that is antithetical to the British sensibilities. Just like, be cool, stay under the radar, do not make yourself in any way, shape, or form stand out in a bad way. I mean, that's what I'm saying. God doesn't give with two hands. Either her titties are going to be out or she's going to wear something weird. You can't have it both ways. But when they're like in their respective confessionals, they're all talking about, like, oh, I'm so worried, or, oh, but you know what? It was rude for her to leave without a note. Oh, but it's such a relief. Like, everybody has kind of drifted away from giving her the grace that they did a few episodes ago. Speaking of making a meal, Kimmy toasts to Mark's vulnerability and offers her respect for him. And then Emma says that this trip forced him to have conversations that are not his normal behavior. What the fuck is this man like on a normal day? Is he just like carved out of ice? Like, what? I mean, a British like 100 years ago. Okay, so you guys may have noticed there were some problems there at the end. Emilie, in her very remote mountain cabin, lost service. So we lost about 25 minutes of the end of it. I'm sorry. I'm happy that you guys stuck around this long, but we will catch up on the next, or maybe even do a little extra mini episode over the weekend. Nonetheless, we will see you guys next Thursday. And please find us on all social media at Take a Pinot Pod, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of the above. See you soon.